So, back to what I was saying before, my theory.
Oh, God.
Steve Rogers did not have a girlfriend before he went into the service.
Says who?
The History Channel. So he becomes Captain America, and from that moment on, a symbol of America, he is rushed to the front lines, he becomes a war hero, then he is frozen in ice.
Right.
So, based on everything you've told me,
Mm-hmm.
after he gets unfrozen, he goes from world-threatening disaster to world-threatening disaster. That's when he's not a fugitive from the law, right? So it seems like he was pretty busy.
All you're doing is repeating everything that I've already told you about my friend and colleague.
Obviously, Captain America was a virgin.
Look out!
In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the people are protected by two separate yet equally important groups. The heroes who save them and the attorneys who clean up their collateral damage. But only one can be both. This is her story. Dun dun.
Lawyer show. She-Hulk's a legal comedy like we've never done before.
All rise.
Whoa! Change back now! Emil!
All right, calm down.
What's fun is the types of Marvel characters that come to her for legal advice.
No judge is going to take this seriously unless we do things by the book.
The Book of Ashanti.
No, the Book of American Laws.
It's a law show, like Ally McBeal or The Practice, and then it breaks all those rules.
The fun of the show is to combine this legal world and all of the possibilities around superhero weirdness.
Call my lawyer.
I just want to be a normal, anonymous lawyer.
We're really pushing boundaries. Other shows haven't before.
Case closed.
Dun dun.
Welcome back, everyone. This will be my brand new She-Hulk Marvel video. They just released a new trailer and a bunch of new clips, and it looks like they're combining a lot of the Planet Hulk, World War Hulk elements with her origin story. So we're getting a lot of the backstory that they cut out for Thor Ragnarok. We'll break it all down. I'll be doing videos for all the episodes when they start next week. It literally starts next week, so be sure to subscribe to get all those videos. I'll do a special Marvel giveaway during that too. We'll start with Disney Plus memberships. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave all your theories about them incorporating this Planet Hulk storyline to the origin story. And this is all from episode 1, this one clip here. Just starting with the footage, because they answer like a long-running fan theory while making a joke about Captain America being a virgin. So the funny thing is that they actually just did something similar when Ant-Man addressed the Thanos theory in a brand new video that they shot at Marvel.
Hi, I'm Scott Lang. But you might know me as Ant-Man.
And I am Hope Van Dyne, the Wasp.
Look, before we start, let me address the elephant in the room. I've heard a lot of chatter out there asking why I didn't shrink down, go in, and kill Thanos in a really creative way. First of all, gross. Secondly, it's much more complicated than that. Allow me to explain.
If only we had the time.
If you don't know what the Thanos theory is, that was a big thing back during Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. People were wondering, why didn't Ant-Man just shrink down, go inside Thanos' butt, and grow real large and use that way to kill him? Like, literally use a backdoor method to make as many jokes as possible to kill Thanos. The answer for the Ant-Man question was him just saying, ooh, that's gross, and two, it doesn't work that way. But it is them addressing that, and now they're addressing the theory that Captain America was a virgin for pretty much his entire life, right up to the end of Avengers Endgame when he went back in time to stay with Peggy Carter. Like, that's when he finally got it on. The funny thing about that is that the writers of Avengers Endgame were also the people who wrote the other Captain America movies, so they had been thinking about Captain America's backstory in the MCU for a long time. They said even though it's not canon, in their own minds, like in their own theories as writers, they said they felt like Captain America got it on with a woman during the USO tour when he was stopping at all these different cities across the US when he got the super soldier serum, but before he'd started his relationship with Peggy Carter, like before they had become a thing. There'll still be tons of fan theories about that too, but it's just like a funny way of Marvel addressing fan theories. So if you like that Marvel is now canonizing a lot of these crazy fan theories about all the different characters, they're probably going to continue to do that in series like this. Usually it's easier to do this in series where Marvel can make fun of themselves, like Deadpool is a good example. When Deadpool comes into the MCU in Deadpool 3, you can make a lot of jokes about stuff like this. But the other big thing going on here in this origin story is they kind of clarify how she gets her powers, like what is the accident that causes the car to crash, where she eventually gets dosed with Hulk's blood accidentally. But as you probably noticed, the ship that fires on them that's powerful enough is literally the exact same type of ship as the Grand Master's ship. Which is where we get to our Planet Hulk storyline, because during Thor Ragnarok, they kind of combine some elements from the Planet Hulk comic book storyline with a new Thor story. During the Planet Hulk storyline, the Illuminati sense that the Hulk is just becoming too much of a problem, so because they feel like they can't kill the Hulk, they don't want to kill the Hulk because it's their friend Bruce Banner, the Illuminati, who we just saw in the 838 universe in Doctor Strange 2, decide that they're going to banish him to outer space. So they just fire him in a spaceship to outer space, but the ship crashes on the planet Sakaar, and a warlord is ruling the planet and forces him to fight as a gladiator in the pits. This is where the plot of Thor Ragnarok became very, very different. But the idea in the MCU is that when he was on Sakaar fighting in the Grand Masters tournament, he was full Hulk, like the Hulk had completely taken over and subsumed the Banner personality. So when Banner finally came out during that movie, he's like, wait a minute, what happened? The last thing that he remembers was long before the events of him landing on the planet. So the idea is that just like the Planet Hulk comic book storyline, Hulk had a son, or multiple sons, he has 2 sons in the comics, while he was on Sakaar in full Hulk form, and that's why Banner doesn't remember that he has sons. The biggest character people think of when they think of Hulk's son is Scar. He's the son of Hulk and one of the local women that Hulk fell in love with. There's also this storyline with something called the Old Power that's contained inside the planet, which is sort of like this cosmic power source that Galactus eventually wants because it's such a big deal. Scar is able to access it, and it just makes him even more powerful. So like the whole idea is that he becomes even more powerful than the Hulk eventually. But what happens in the comics is that Hulk's wife dies, and he goes back to Earth to get revenge on the Illuminati that he thinks killed her. All the while thinking that his wife is dead, not knowing about his son still being alive. So the idea in the TV series is that somebody is coming back from Sakaar to try and kill the Hulk, and She-Hulk just gets caught in the middle of that. Like, they're not here to kill She-Hulk, they're here to kill the Hulk. And remember, when you see him in the car, when they attack him, he's still got his arm in the sling. He's got this green light on his wrist that looks like it just monitors his transformations, like his rage level. For those of you also asking, how can they actually injure the Hulk? Like, wouldn't he transform and wouldn't it heal all that damage? I think the idea is that the weapons that they're using on him in his current state just allows for that to happen. Because his arm looks totally healed in later episodes, I think they'll explain how this transformation, like this event, causes him to heal that damage when he transforms into Hulk again. You can let me know in the comments, though, like, who from Sakaar is using this ship, like Grandmaster's type of ship, to come and kill the Hulk? Like, who on that planet would want to kill the Hulk? For those of you that also want a World War Hulk storyline in the MCU, there are just, like, reasons why you'd have to explain why the Hulk would get so mad that he'd get out of control. One of the ways to do that would be something happening to his son in the MCU. The other big clip is just She-Hulk doing all the Law & Order jokes because it is kind of a lawyer show. They make the She-Hulk titles in the style of the Law & Order titles and even use the Law & Order theme song. And when they talk about the 2 different sides in the MCU, like you have superheroes and then the damage they cause and the lawyers who clean up the damage, and how there are only a few people who can do both, She-Hulk being one of those characters, because she's both a superhero and a lawyer by day, just like Matt Murdock, Daredevil, which is why obviously he's such a big part of the series. It makes so much sense that they would actually include him. But Bruce Banner, Hulk, having to tell her, like, no, this is going to be a big problem for you. Like, literally, somebody comes in a spaceship from the planet Sakaar to try and kill me because of my power. Eventually, they're going to try and do that to you too. Thunderbolt Ross, his people, even though obviously William Hurt passed away in the MCU, so R.I.P., he will be missed. There's still all that storyline they set up with him going after the Hulk. Now that they have She-Hulk, his successors, like Val, for instance, Val's probably going to take a lot of that Thunderbolt Ross storyline, will be coming for She-Hulk to take their power. When Kevin Feige talks about the funny aspect of the series with the different types of characters that come to her for legal representation, that's him just sort of referencing all the crazy cameos that they get to do from the comics and from previous MCU properties, Daredevil being the best example of that. Also, all the Wong stuff, like you see a longer version of him coming to see her, like, look, I want to sue somebody, and her having to explain to him, like, okay, if you want to sue somebody in American court, you have to go by the rules of the American law. Even though the Avengers handle world-ending threats like Thanos, for instance, because they're still trying to operate above board and as part of society, they are subject to a lot of society's rules, which is when Thunderbolt Ross comes in and tries to tell them what to do. Like, okay, there are sanctions on you now. You either have to sign this Sokovia Accord document or you have to go home. That's really where you get to things like the Thunderbolts. But because episode 1 is dropping next week, my full videos will start posting after they release it. Remember, they moved episodes to Thursdays so that the Star Wars episodes for Andor and the She-Hulk episodes for all the Marvel stuff don't drop on the exact same day. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of those episodes. There were a couple other big things that were released this week, so I'll try to do videos for those as quickly as possible. While you wait for that, everyone click here for my other She-Hulk Daredevil trailer video, and click here for my Loki Season 2 first look video and Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.